Hello, 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 and welcome. This is Her Talk Show. My name is Sabrina Victoria, and I am here with Lynn Whitbeck. We're going to be talking all about how to follow up, capture, and convert prospects to clients. So, ladies, if you own a business, if you are an entrepreneur, turn that volume up, sit down, grab a cup of tea, grab a notepad. We're going to be diving in, exploring the triumphs, the challenges faced by women business owners and entrepreneurs worldwide. We're going to be offering some insights. Lynn is going to be doing some inspiration to fuel you on your professional growth. So let's jump in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
Welcome, and thanks for listening live. If you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We are here every day delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We've interviewed over 600 women, and today we are adding another one to the list. We have Lynn Whitbeck. She is the queen of sales. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire Lynn to ignite winning sales because most fail to connect, capture, and close their ideal clients. Girl, I'm going to ditto you on that. Lynn is the founder and CEO of Petite to Queen and host of Claim Your Career Crown and the Get More Clients show, streaming on Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV. She loves visiting national parks, cooking, and playing Pokemon Go. Welcome.
Oh, Sabrina, it's great to be back. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
It's so fun to every conversation we have. I love.
Yes, absolutely. Love being in the room with you. You are filled with so much knowledge regarding sales, and that is why you're here. So before we jump in, the title of this podcast starts with how to follow up. I know that there's so much fear around the follow up. I think one of the main things I hear is just, I don't want to bug people. I don't want to be too aggressive. I don't want to. So I'd love to just kind of start there. Just like, what is the follow up? Why do we need to follow up?
Well, I'm going to start with the big myth that I'm going to bust all over the place. So
All right.
The myth is that you need to get more and more leads. Now, here's the truth. What you need is to follow up on the ideal client leads that you have to close more sales. That's your path to growth. It's your path to be able to create more impact with the clients that you serve and to grow your business.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about follow-up and having those conversations, the first thing is, how are you serving them in the follow-up? All right. If you feel like if you're doing this, oh, hi, this is Lynn. I'm calling to check in and see if you're ready to move forward. Well, no wonder it feels icky. I mean, you're not delivering any value whatsoever. So the key thing about follow-up is, remember, it is not about you. Sales is never about you. It's about your prospect. It's about your ideal client. And it's about serving them and about what do they want, need, or lack? Why does it matter to them? What problem does it solve? What pain point does it address? What solution does it provide? What's in it for them so they can what? What's the goal? What's the solution? What's the dream that they desire? And when you frame your follow-up in that core ideal client thinking like your clients, all of a sudden follow-up is a joy because you're delivering value. They need to hear what you have. It just becomes very natural. So instead, it's, Sabrina, we just published a new white paper that's going to show you 10 steps to quickly convert your prospects to confirm their ideal clients and close more sales. I'm going to drop this in an email, so it's going to be in your inbox in one moment. This is Lynn with Petite to Queen. You know my number and digits. Okay, yada, yada, right? So what I just did there is I took what is I have, but I put it in terms of why you want it. why it matters to you. And I did that completely on the fly. Okay, so when you work on this, you can take a look at what is your client why? What is their thinking? What do they want, need, or lack? And how are you going to be able to address that? Because you all have assets. You got a lead magnet. You got an article. You were a guest on a podcast. So many things, right? So what you do is you take those and you're going to reverse engineer it into your client why. Why does it matter to them that they want this thing? Okay? Because it's not about you. It's about them. So you really reframe why it matters to them. And then you provide them with that delightful value. And when you do that, here's the thing, you know on your own, you're so confident and assured because you're delivering something that matters to them. You're not bugging them, you're not hounding them, right? And you're doing it in a cadence that matches your client, your ideal client. So if you're in real estate, that cadence is going to be really fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're in B2B sales, that cadence is not going to be more than once a week. It's much slower, not unless there's some point of urgency that's going on. So you match the cadence to your ideal client and what is going to work well for them. And then you have these assets lined up. And then after that initial conversation with your prospect, you're going to discover when you wear your detective hat and you ask questions, you listen, and when they respond, you say, Sabrina, that's interesting. I'm curious. Tell me more. The second answer is always going to get you closer to what's really happening. There's a number of different ways that you can do that. Now you pull that. Now you have things that you know matter to them, that are emotional triggers, that are motivating them, that are reasons that they want, need, and or lack, your product or service, why it matters to them.
Yeah.
Now you can pull from your existing assets and start your follow-up cadence and use all kinds of different methods. Don't always pick up the phone and then send an email, or phone and text, phone and direct message, right? It's going to be different things. Sometimes you're going to snail mail something. It's such an amazing thing to get something in a mail that's not junk mail.
I know.
That's been personally hand addressed, because that's going to stand out. Okay. Not something that you order on, notecards.us, right? Instead, it's actually handwritten that you've sent out. But there's so many different methods to follow up. So anyway, I'm just keep going on here, Sabrina, but to answer your core question, if you already have your ideal client and their thinking clearly in focus, and you're going to deliver value, it no longer feels like you're being a pest. This normal process in the journey, you're staying front of mind, because most people, in fact, I think if we would put it out there, because we're all live, right?
Yeah.
How many sales happen after the first conversation?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, let's all, and the audience. But yeah, what do you think?
I'm going to say 2%.
That's a good number. It ranges from that 2% to 10%. It does depend upon the industry, but it's a really low number.
Wow.
Because people, they're just learning about it and they want to get more information. Now, if they've been following you for years and they've been, on your mailing list and they've attended some of your master classes, those people could be much warmer and ready to go.
Yeah.
But if this is someone you're meeting for the first time, that is a really important thing. They need to have another conversation. They need you to follow up.
Yeah.
And in fact, most people, when they first start looking at something, it's going to take them 3 to 12 months to make a decision to move forward.
Wow.
So
Wait, what did you say? 3 to how much?
3 to 12 months. Once again, it depends on the industry. It depends on your product or service. But no matter what, it takes multiple conversations. And so planning on that and planning on the follow-up, because what happens is that people get busy, something happens, something comes up, and all of a sudden they've been distracted, whether it's the latest cat video, or some big event in their life or business. And so by staying with that follow-up, you're staying front of mind and you're delivering value consistently. And this is how you change your sales. This is how you close more sales with your ideal clients. And in that first conversation, that's where you determine, are they an ideal client? Is this a good fit? Because if they're not a good fit, they can go into a different pathway of a relationship, because they could still be a great partner, a promoter, a fan, but they're not a great fit for you to become, for them to become a client for you. So that's standing in your own power.
Yeah.
To really understand who can you help and serve and create massive impact for them.
Absolutely. I love how you're giving them different options too. Just because they're not a client doesn't mean that they still can't be in your world to some capacity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge raving fan of Sabrina's. Woohoo! And, I will promote her all day long, right? So I'm a raving fan. I'm a promoter. I would provide her with introductions where it made sense. Absolutely. All of the above.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also important for the person to know that a lot of times they don't know that. They don't know that they can, or who they are, right? So like giving them a name as to who they are. This is actually give me vibes of a guy that I follow on social media named Alex Hermosi. And his clients are super high level client. Well, he just signed on with school, but prior to him signing up with school, his clients were like more high-end, multi-million-dollar corporations. And then he buys in and helps their businesses even more. But he has what's called Mosey Nation, which are individuals like myself, smaller individuals that follow him, listen to him, take all of his knowledge, implement a lot of the stuff that he talks about within his businesses. But I'm not a multi-million-dollar business that would ever do, have him take me on as a client at this point in my life. So what you're talking about right there, right? There's a fan. You can be a fan of somebody. And then I would then, talk about it, promote it. Like here, I'm doing it right now, which could catch the attention of somebody else who could potentially be a client.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Very, very cool. So we're talking about today, capture and convert prospects to clients. Is this a system? Is this a step-by-step? How do we do this?
There are principles involved. So the first thing is it's a framework. So I don't have any kind of cookie cutter. That's not who I am, because that doesn't represent who you are as an individual and your unique business and service, whatever that product or service is. So it's really important to have a framework. And so having that framework, that allows you to have the repeatable, consistent, and scalable business. And so it's a framework. And that first part of the framework is thinking like your clients. If you're not thinking like your clients, you don't understand what's going on in their world and what matters to them, it's always going to be hit or miss. There's never going to be any consistency. You're not going to be able to create a repeatable process. And to a certain extent, you're never going to be able to scale.
Yeah.
So you're just going to flounder around like a fish out of water, So, so the next thing is to create a process. So in essence, that you have a meeting with someone, or let's say they find out about you, they hear me on this podcast and they go, this is really cool. I want to know more. So they go to my website, they sign up for a free lead magnet. So that lead magnet gives them value, something that's going to help them in their sales. But the first thing they do is they get a welcome to that lead magnet. They have a welcome sequence that you've planned. So this is part of your funnel, right? You're not going to go into business without a website or without a funnel, but it's about, so they go into that, and that's all about that lead magnet, why that lead magnet matters to them, providing them with additional delight, things that are on top of it, right? So set their expectations higher. Then after they go through that, then they get into a welcome sequence, which is welcoming them to your community. So it's a little bit differently, because the first thing is they wanted that thing. They wanted that free thing. They wanted the sales strategy checklist, right? So they want the one thing. They get that one thing that is addressing that. Now they move into, now you've joined this community. And the purpose of this is that you're basically warming people up so that now they're going to start staying with you. And then you provide them with ongoing communication. And the same is true if you're going through, I am a real proponent of email marketing because the engagement is 24% versus 3% on socials.
Wow.
But email marketing, where you're always, once again, delivering value, things that matter to your audience. You're not always trying to sell them something. Yes, you would sell to them in your emails, but it's not, once again, it's not about you, but what's going to matter to them. Introducing some, I call it, a lot of fun. I will tell funny stories. I'll evoke things that people can, oh yeah, I remember that Tom Haverford episode on Parks and Rec where he can't explain what he does and it's just so comical. Well, we all encounter that all the time. That's why I have the intromercial, so that you can tell people what you do, who you serve, and why it matters in 17 and a half seconds, right? But I told it with a funny story and something that people can immediately go, oh yeah, that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
And so, and then you give them other opportunities to connect with you through, and every business is going to be different. But when you create this pathway so that you can attract, connect, and convert. And once you have someone who's created that strategy call, now you have a different path. They go into another pathway where you're going to be following up so that you can guide them to yes. If they're a fit for both you and your client.
Yeah. Do you lean more into, when you're talking about capturing clients, do you lean more into organic ads, email? Where are you capturing these people?
So what works really well for me is that I have 2 different signature talks, and I will do my talk. Sometimes it's in a group of, I just did one last week in a Facebook group. One person came besides the host. They both wanted my lead magnet, and the one person signed up for a strategy session.
Wow.
So I have really great, whenever I need or want more clients, I do my talk.
Wow.
I always get more business. So that's a very specific strategy. And it works really well for me because, Sabrina, I mean, I've been talking a lot. I've been on hundreds of podcasts as a guest. I have my own show. I've been on the stage, both in my previous corporate career and now. So it works really, it's a great strategy for me.
Yeah.
And part of that strategy is, once again, it's a framework. It's not about doing this exact thing this way that squashes all the life out of yourself and who you are as a unique individual. Instead, it's a framework that you apply that really speaks to who you are, your unique elixir.
Yeah.
Because that's what people are attracted to. And that's how you bring joy into everything you do and your own life. It's because, you're shining, you're brightest.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I'm really intrigued, or I guess thinking about these individuals who are coming through. How do I word this? Coming through to convert. Are you, or I guess what's your go-to? Are you doing push button buy nows? Are you doing phone calls? Is there a form? How does your conversion actually happen from like not buying to all of a sudden buying?
Right. So once again, this is going to be dependent upon your unique business.
Yep.
So I only offer VIP, client work. So it's human to human, whether they have a team or it's an individual that are coming to the sessions. And we're working on what you need to have happen in your sales. And so because of that, those occur through conversations. And I don't expect to close anyone at the first time. The first meeting is to find out what they do, more about them. Of course, I've done any kind of background. I do some work ahead of time. I'll check out their website. I'll look at things. I'll spend anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on what they have available to look at.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's just about me asking questions and listening, and then asking follow-up questions. Tell me more, help me understand. I'm curious about that. And from that, then it's determining, are they a good fit? You know, am I going to be able to create massive impact for this person?
Got it.
And so then from there, it's that, you know, they're in charge of the conversation. And so sometimes it leads to another conversation. So I have some ideas. Let's get on a call. We'll talk about it. And then this is how you can work with me moving forward. So there are times that I do close someone on that very first call. So it's not uncommon. So people who've, once again, either if they've been in my sphere, they've looked at my stuff and they're like, okay, you know, I've been around the block. I know the real deal when I see it. I literally had someone tell me that a few weeks ago. And
that's awesome.
And they signed up immediately.
That's
and
awesome.
So the key piece about this is it's going to be unique for your product and your service. Some people have lots of different. I want to say this: don't offer more than 3 things. I had 4 fingers up, 3 fingers. What I call good, better, best. And don't offer options on it. It gets confusing. And then it's like, some people want this and why. Most people want this and why.
Yeah.
And then others want this and why. And when you do that, that gives them, they can self-direct. Well, where do they fit? And so think about it. If you're trying to serve everyone in too many industries and too many programs, you're truly serving no one. So get into a place about that sings to your passion and focus on that so you can communicate that client thinking to that core group.
That's great. That's great. As far as, you know, I speak to a lot of women who do this face to face. And I think the biggest hurdle they're having is actually asking for the sale. Right. So they go through the pitch, they're explaining everything. Maybe they have a couple of slides, they got their stats, they got their numbers. And then when it comes to the actual part where they're like, do you want to purchase? Do you want to buy? This is how much it is. There's a lot of hiccups there. There's a lot of just like, do you have any other questions? Silence. How do you work your sales pitch? Where do you think that you're really winning at the sales game as far as the close?
Yeah, I don't pitch people, first of all.
Okay.
I'm really finding about what they need and how I'm going to be able to serve them. And then through that, this is the plan, this is how we're going to work together. And that's the big question. Are we going to work together? Yes or no? I also am a real advocate of soft closes. So there's a lot of myriad of soft closes. And these can be, you know, do you want to start, you know, on the 25th, which is the beginning of Thanksgiving, or should we go ahead and start the first week of December? That's an either or close. It's an assumptive close at the same time. So what I've just done is I'm assuming the answer is yes. And often price is the last thing I discuss. All right. And it just happens to be this much. You know, do you want to pay in 3 monthly payments? Do you want to pay via Zelle? Do you want to pay on Stripe? Right? A few choices. And that's the other thing. That's another choice. Like, do you want to pay the deposit today via Stripe or Zelle? Well, you know, so anybody in the US, Canada, you can use Zelle. That's a way to eliminate most business accounts. I mean, I use Zelle all the time in my business account, but you avoid all the fees, right? and the money comes right into your account. So it's a great solution. Very easy. I never use PayPal. So I'm just going to sell you that out there because they get you on both sides of the transaction.
Bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah. So, Stripe, Square, whatever works for you. And so those are things that you can, that's another either or question. How many team members will you want to include in the meetings? Now, that's something that would matter to me because I'm talking about sales strategy with a business, they'll have multiple team members who attend the sessions. And then I get their contact information. As soon as they're giving me that contact information, they just said yes.
Wow. Yeah.
So I want you to think about, and of course, sometimes you just flat out, when would you like to get started? It's that simple. So you don't have to say, do you want to buy from me? No, it's all the other things that, how are you going to implement your program? What are the things that need to be put in place? I have to set up a session schedule. So what's a good day of the week and time for our sessions? I mean, that's an open-ended question, but it allows them, they're already putting themselves in the future.
Absolutely.
They're working with me.
Absolutely.
So it's going to matter to your business, but I wrote an article for your magazine on closing. I'd recommend everyone go back to that issue and read that article. It's also on our website. I wrote it for Sabrina, but I put it on our website. I then made a TV show out of it. So that's a beautiful thing. You create a piece of content, you can leverage it 6 dozen, whatever ways, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Beautiful. I love it. Well, I've taken a ton of notes already. This has been absolutely phenomenal. I'd love for you to talk a little bit as we're closing up here on, obviously we're getting a good idea of who you are, what you do, but can you tell us exactly what you do, what it looks like, and who should be reaching out to you? Who do you help?
So I work with business owners and entrepreneurs who want a repeatable, consistent, scalable sales strategy. They want to put something in place that the wheels are going to turn. They're going to roll easily and effectively and be able to keep going faster and faster. And so I work on building that strategy. And what's some areas that we can work on immediately to make a change? So I'm going to just tell a little story about one of my past clients, Dell. And Dell, when he was referred to me, he was in a really rough spot. He had a on-site service, B2B, and over time, he was losing business through attrition. The manager or a director that he was working with left, and somebody else didn't renew the program. There were budget cuts. The company felt that they had gotten all the benefit they could out of the program, so they eliminated it, just different things. And he was struggling to close new sales because no one purchased on a B2B program like right out of the gate. It requires multiple conversations, follow-up meetings, presentations, follow-up just to get the stinking contract signed, the whole thing. Yeah. And this was his follow-up. It was literally, "Hi, Sabrina. We met at the chamber meeting this week, and you said you were interested in our on-site program, and I'd like to get that meeting scheduled. What's a good day or time for you? Give me a call back. This is Dell." And so you see, it's just like so forgettable, blah, 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 blah. "I'm busy. I don't have time for this."
Yeah.
So the first thing we started working on is where he was hemorrhaging was in the follow-up process. And we fixed that. We worked together about what he already had as assets, what mattered to his ideal clients.
Yeah.
It mattered that their employees would be pain-free. It mattered that they would be more productive. It mattered that their morale would go through the roof. It mattered that their absenteeism would drop like a rock.
Wow.
Right? So by talking about the things that matter to them and then pointing them to an area where they could get the information, a white paper, an article, a resource, right? And structuring it that way, he started getting people to call him back, who opened his emails, who scheduled an appointment.
Gorgeous.
And later on, we revised his entire presentation. it was always around what is happening in that business. Is this match up? Does this story make sense to them? Because if they're experiencing this, we have a solution.
Wow. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. So in the first year, he increased his business by 29%. And in the second year, it just took off even further. He sold his business and is now living his best life. And I've continued to work with them on a reoccurring basis with the new president and owner.
Wow.
Over time.
Wow. That's awesome. Love that. And I can totally see the visual of how the difference in the pitches and how it would make a world of difference doing it the way that you suggested. That's so cool. As far as individuals who want to follow you, see more about you, I know your website, petite2queen.com. It is in a clickable link in the description below for those of you that are watching live and on the replay. Where can people find you on social?
Well, if you go to our website, all of our links are there. So we're on all the usual, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. And so just click where you want to follow. And if you want advice on sales, tune in to get more clients. All the episodes are on the website. They're on whatever podcast platform you get. And of course on YouTube.
Gorgeous. I love it. Well, this has been great. I so appreciate you being here, taking some time to give us some value, some content on how to capture and convert prospects into clients and bring some money into your business. As far as closing thoughts, Lynn, as we wrap up, what do you got?
Yeah, be who you are. Really lean into who you are, because this is going to be, that is the most important thing, that you don't try to be somebody else. Don't do the fake it till you make it. Instead, really embrace who you are, because you have a core genius and a magic elixir that only you can do and provide to your clients, whether it's a product or service, whatever it happens to be. And when you start with that, and then you start to think like your client and reverse engineer that, that is when the true magic happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's what people really need to recognize is that's where the magic happens. Absolutely. Well, this has been great. I so appreciate you, Lynn. We love having you on the podcast. You're always guaranteed to bring us some value, some inspiration towards our business and things that we can do to improve the bottom line. So
thank you so much. And it's always a pleasure to be with you, Sabrina. And everybody, if you aren't totally actively following everything Sabrina does, you should be, because she is truly someone who stands in her own power and is always authentic and is absolutely incredible.
Thank you. You're the best. I'm going to cut that and put that on my social. You're the best. All right, lady. Well, this has been great. For those of you listening live, for those of you listening on the replay, thank you for staying until the very end. Remember to follow, like, and share. Everything that Lynn shared today was phenomenal. And I'm certain that you are not the only business owner / entrepreneur in your midst, in your community. So get it out there to the individuals that need it. Once again, my name is Sabrina Victoria. This is Her Talk Show. I run a community called Her Nation Global, where we have conversations just like this one to help you every step in your way. We really hone in on the health, the wealth, and the leadership of the women in our community. So thank you so much, Lynn, for all you brought today. Until next time, do something awesome today.